Set!
Blitz is defined as a sudden, savage attack. It is indeed all this. The effect is sure. The premise is simple. It's a basic, primal confrontation, man to man. No excuses are offered, none accepted.
Welcome to the latest edition of Longhorn Blitz with horns247.com.
It's like a radio station.
Now, here are your hosts, lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers,
Pure athlete, yeah.
I transcend race, hombre.
Matt Butler,
I don't talk, man. I back it up.
And we are chock full of that, man.
Damn right.
and Jeff Howe.
It's still real to me, damn it.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
If you're gonna blitz, come strong, but don't come at all.
Coming strong with another edition of Longhorn Blitz with Horns 24/7. I am Jeff Howe, and it is our favorite week of the year. It's Texas OU week, the Red River Showdown. You got to be, if you want to be correct about it and get the sponsor in there, it is the AT&T Red River Showdown. Whatever you want to call it, it's the Longhorns and the Sooners. It'll be Saturday from the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. We're going to talk about that game. We'll talk about a 42-31 road win Texas got over West Virginia. All that and more coming up on the latest edition of the podcast. Let me bring in the rest of the team. He is the master of the soundboard, the drop machine extraordinaire, Matt Butler. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty well. Yourself?
Good. I survived the trip to Morgantown, so
Nice.
I'm good. It's not a bad trip going up there. Just the weather was great, man. It was perfect fall weather for football. It's awesome, like kind of upper 60s, low 70s, a little cool breeze. So the weather was great. You know, I never see any moonshine vendors on the side of the road. Like, it's amazing how like A&E and Bravo can find all these people, but I never can.
It's like horses in Texas and stuff.
Yeah, moonshine is going mainstream though in a lot of ways. Like, and that ain't the best moonshine.
Yeah,
best moonshine is
any standardized moonshine is no good.
It's not. Well, I'm sure it's
It
good,
might
but
be
it's
good,
not
but
as good
it's
as the
not
real
moonshine.
stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. A man who I guess we can call him a moonshine connoisseur. He's a connoisseur of many
I have
things.
family that cooks moonshine.
Yes.
Oh, you got to cook it, fix it. What do you do?
I'm totally ignorant. I have no clue on the moonshine.
I don't know if you brew it. It's the still process.
Distill it, whatever. Yeah.
There you go.
Distill. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but he is a Renaissance man, clearly here on Longhorn Blitz and on the Horn 104.9, where you can hear him on the Rodcast each every weekday from 1 to 3. Lifetime Longhorn 2002, UT All-American 2002 semifinalist for the Jim Thorpe Award. 4th-round draft choice of the New York Giants in 2003. Spent his NFL career with the Giants, Lions, Bears, Bucks, Broncos, and a year with the Hamilton Tiger Cats of the CFL. Who was done football, got us up back to Austin, Texas in the 40 acres where he earned his degree. Whenever that T-ring comes in, he will wear it proudly. Nevertheless, he is a card-carrying member of DBU. Number 21 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, Mr. Rod Babers.
Thanks for the intro, brother.
Rod, I get a little dizzy doing the intro sometimes.
I know, because I think you run out of breath, but it's good every damn time.
But,
And you just channel your like WWE fandom of a child. Like you have a great just open, be able to announce. It sounds as if like it's a rub off, like you're in the middle of a WWE.
I'm like
promo.
Captain Lou Albano introducing somebody on the fly there.
Nice
There
reference.
you
Nice reference.
But Texas gets a win, guys. We'll talk about, obviously, a lot of this show is going to be devoted to the Oklahoma game. But let's go ahead and break down this West Virginia win. Rod, I think the real winners on Saturday were the people lucky enough to get that game at the 10.5.
Yeah. There you go.
I was saying, wait for that half a hook all the way.
And what's that
Don't
say?
get 11.5.
You gave everybody on this show that advice, Matt, so I hope they heeded. Matt, what's that saying? Good teams win, great teams cover?
Yeah, at
Damn
least
right.
better ones do.
You damn right.
Well, Texas
I
got the
remember-
cover. Rod, it wasn't
It wasn't pretty.
it didn't play out the way
it didn't
we
play out
maybe
the
thought
way
it
we
would or
thought.
should, but it's one of those deals where
I didn't see Casey Thompson. That's what I wanted
Correct.
to see. I didn't see him.
you look at the negatives from this game, like defense gave up a bunch of yards, offense really bogged down in the third quarter. Sam Ehlinger threw an interception.
Yep.
The offensive line had a terrible first half, I thought. But the flip side of that was Sam Ehlinger finishes another 200-yard passing game, 4 total touchdowns. Roshan Johnson leads your rushing attack. Running game goes for over 200 yards. Defense forces 4 turnovers.
Yep.
They're really good, again, in the red zone. Their best effort all year on third down. So at the end of the day, you can say the negatives if you want. You can highlight that if you wish, but it's a Big 12 road win, and there's a lot of positives you can take out of that.
I know a lot of people are upset about the yardage because there was a lot of yardage. Was it 460 something?
367 passing.
But I'm talking about total. Was it 460 something like that?
Whatever that's
total.
plus 96 rushing. Yeah.
But
I was told to beat on math today.
Okay, no. I'm not. Yeah, we're not trying to do math on the show, but you get the point. A lot of people are upset about the yardage. Remember, they gave up a lot of yards to Louisiana Tech too. I'm
463, Rod.
Yeah, I'm always willing to negotiate. Right, I'll give if as a fan. Out and as obviously a guy who play defense, I'll give up yards all day, every day if you can produce turnovers. To me, Todd Orlando's defense, that's when it's performing at its most optimal. That's when it's performing at its highest, in terms of its production rate and in terms of its the ideal system for Todd Orlando. You have to be able to produce those turnovers. And you go look at the 4 turnovers they produced. To me, they won that battle. They won the matchup between that West Virginia offense and the Texas defense, only because turnovers is the ultimate cheat code. If you go look at I think there are 9 times where Todd Orlando's defense since 2015 has allowed 500 or more total yards. Todd Orlando is 3-6, or at least his defenses, his teams are. They're 3-6 in those 9 games. In the 3 wins, Todd Orlando's defense has forced at least 3 turnovers in each of the 3 wins. In the 6 losses, they've forced a combined 3 turnovers in the 6 losses. So in football today, it's all about situational football. 3rd down defense, 4th down defense, red zone defense, forcing turnovers, limiting explosive plays. Sometimes the yardage is going to happen, but if you can be good in situations, which Todd Orlando has proven that he can be really good at in terms of being able to match up and also being able to scheme situations, I'll take the yardage. I'll give up the yardage. It's no big deal to me.
And we've talked about that a lot on the show, just the idea like where the red zone defense idea of yards and being able to make the team prove it over time, and you have trust in your playmakers being able to make plays. And what was so impressive about those interceptions in this game, they're all on standard downs. They weren't on passing downs, which is crazy. If you look at passing downs, Texas actually got thrown on, and Austin Kendall was successful, and that was something in years past. That's when Texas's defense thrived, was being able to bring pressure in expected situations and get home to them. It's even better that you had these guys go out there and make plays on standard downs, and all 4 of them came on the 28 standard downs that West Virginia had. So Texas coming up with those big plays is so big, and then you see how scoring touchdowns still can separate you, and when you steal a possession or 2, it really can negate a few bad possessions on offense.
Rod, my math might be shoddy here, but I think this is the 2 big takeaways I've got from this game. This was Todd Orlando's defense kind of in their element. When you can turn it into a throw game and get turnovers, and you do that by stopping the run, West Virginia gets held under 100 yards. 16 times now under Todd Orlando, Texas has held an opponent to fewer than 100 rushing yards. I've got Texas at 14-2 in those games when they hold an opponent to 100 yards or fewer rushing, and then 12-2 in games where the defense forces multiple turnovers.
Yeah.
So to your point, if you can turn it into a throw game, great. We've seen the good of it. We've seen the bad of it, which was the LSU game, which LSU stopped trying to run the football. They just realized, we can throw it for a bunch of yards and make it.
And you only forced 1 turnover out of all those times.
Exactly. Saw the bad of it there. But now you see the good of it, West Virginia. And you can say, well, man, Austin Kendall's not a great quarterback, whatever. But, Rod, I think the corner specifically, and you can even credit B.J. Foster with this because I thought his interception was a great play. The DBs as a whole did really what I wanted to see them do, and we talked about this on last week's show. I just want to see them be in a position to go make a play on the ball. Just don't look lost running down the field where you got guys running wide open and you're busting coverages. Just be in a position. It's 50-50 balls. Some plays you're going to make them, some plays you're not. Deshaun Jameson just goes OBJ and makes a great one-handed interception, has a really good read on the second one, and then obviously B.J. Foster's a really good read. And Deli Adeyewale, you can – that one,
had a good game too.
That one you can put on Austin Kendall a little bit because
he tried to fit it into a really tight window. It's like, dude, you are not that guy. You gotta know your limits. You know
Win
what I
a
mean?
little Fitzpatrick on that one.
Yeah, exactly. But to your point though, I think the biggest takeaway out of the West Virginia game for me was Deshaun Jameson. It was the fact that now I believe you do have a starting field corner, all right, and you knew coming out of training camp you had a boundary corner in Jalen Green, so now you have your 2 starting corners. Now, Jalen Green is hurt. We all know that. Right? Still dealing with an injury, so he's going to be out for the next couple of weeks. And he's going to miss OU. But, now you have the guy in Deshaun Jameson, and it goes back to what the coaches had been telling the media and telling everybody, hey, we know Deshaun Jameson is young. He's going to get beat. But we know he's a ball hawk, and he's got a short memory, and he's aggressive. He's going to go out there and fight. He's got a lot of dog in him.
Yep.
And we want a guy that corner's got some dog. Yep, in the Big 12 he's going to get beat, but he's going to be able to make some plays too, and when he makes some plays, he's going to make the defense pay. He's one of those guys.
Right, let's brag on DB High a little bit because Anthony Cook, I thought, played pretty well. 7 tackles.
He was aggressive.
And
he was aggressive.
We talked in the open week with Jalen Green going down. You probably lost Josh Thompson for the year. It was kind of now or never for Anthony Cook.
We agree. I agree with that.
And he answered the call. Apparently had a great open week of practice. The week leading up to the West Virginia game was really good. He ends up getting the start. And I don't want to say this is a sign where, okay, he's going to head in the right direction, but at least if you're Jason Washington and Todd Orlando, I think you can look at it now getting ready for the Oklahoma game and saying, okay, we got Anthony Cook back to where we thought we were going to have him in camp.
Yeah.
To where you've got a confident corner that you can trust to put on the field. I don't think before they could, clearly by his playing time. They didn't know what kind of
state he was in. They
right.
didn't know. Yeah.
Clearly by his playing time, they couldn't trust to put him on the field. Now, at least they know they could trust to put him on the field. And Rod, I'm baby stepping it with corner. If you can at least trust somebody to put them on the field, that's a pretty good start right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know who's gonna. Yeah, I don't know who's gonna start in the Oklahoma game. I'm assuming Deshaun. I assume, but I don't know. I assume Deshaun Jameson will start at the field corner, and then the boundary corner. I don't know.
I would assume Anthony Cook.
I would assume Anthony Cook too, but I don't know. I mean, Kobe Boyce he was playing field most of the time, wasn't he, when he was playing? So I'm with you. I mean, DV High may be out there representing, man. Maybe the first time
taking on Oklahoma.
Come on, we got to think. Has any time in the history of the Power Five has there been a Power Five school with 2 starting corners from the same high school, even starting one game?
Yeah, I'd have to really think about that.
It's got to be
fried,
very. I mean, it's got to be
just very
rare.
little pockets in Miami, or like it's
like
just
maybe. It's rare, man. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody get on that, man. Stat guys, Drew Lieberman.
Whoever has that database, figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say it's never happened. I'm gonna go randomly and say, as I said, Power 5. So you go before that. I don't know. Power 5 is relatively young. You know what I mean? So I would say Power 5. I don't think it's ever happened.
You're probably right.
For a Power 5 school. So DV High, baby. Shout out.
That's hardcore.
Sure, go, baby.
Let's stick with the defense.
Oh, wait, I think my high school might have at safety though, the Griffin brothers, but that's sort of a technicality. But it's odd that I had the same high school.
That's true. Did they start in the same secondary?
I had to go back and look. I don't know if Marcus started.
I don't know if Marcus started with Michael. I think that was I think Marcus starts after Michael leaves.
Man,
I think you're right.
I think I remember that because I remember keeping up with that. I think he leaves.
07.
Yeah, I want to see he starts after Michael leaves.
Yeah.
You
might be right. I think you're right on that, Rod. Overall,
that's
though,
pretty good, though,
when you look at the defense,
bizarre.
Yeah, DBU.
We talked about
Not Bowie.
We talked about third down defense, and West Virginia finishes the game, if I can find it here, 4 for 14 on third down. I think they were 0 for 7 in the second half.
Situational defense, baby.
Yeah, and then
situational.
And then I asked Tom Herman about the red zone defense after the game, and he said he felt like and this is, I can't believe I didn't pick up on this. But Tom Herman's famous saying, "Oh, their momentum's a flea. It's not real. It's not tangible." He called the third down, the red zone stop they got after the Sam Ehlinger interception. He's like, that could have been a huge momentum swing. And I didn't think about it until I was putting my notebook together after the game.
Momentum.
I'm like, Tom Herman's talking about momentum swings.
Well, he better, because going into Texas OU week, momentum is real.
Yes.
But that's a good point. I never thought about that.
But he said that could have been a huge momentum swing because Texas is up 21-14 at that point. West Virginia gets the ball at the plus 15. And you're thinking, man, if they get a touchdown and tie the game, then it's an entirely different ball game at that point. But you get a really nice play from Brandon Jones. Austin Kendall tried to get an angle, tried to get the edge on Brandon Jones to the corner, and that wasn't going to happen. Then they have a drop pass, and then Deshaun Jameson, as good as the 2 interceptions were, Rod, you could argue his best play, his most impactful play was that third down stop in the open field, because Neil Brown said afterwards that play call where they get Sam James on a little shallow cross where he can make something happen in space. Yeah, they felt like that was the play they wanted. They're like, their guy just made the play, and our guy didn't.
Man, that was not. He wasn't even close, open. I was
not impressed with West Virginia's third down play call.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not really impressive, because there was no real rub route to it either.
Right.
There was no pig, no mesh concept. I don't know what the hell.
Do you remember earlier in the game where they missed?
They had some good switch route concepts that mixed Texas up.
Which we talked about that they were going to do that.
Texas later on in the secondary, they couldn't really figure it out, though. They did a lot of switch routes at the mesh point early on in the game, but then you didn't see it that much later on.
I think back to the
they ran a ton of bunch formations though, and tight formations, minor splits.
I think back to late in the first half, they had that possession where It's a third down. It's before they miss a field goal. It's a third down, and they call a timeout, and they come out of the timeout, and it's like a 3rd and 8, and they try to run like a wide zone. I'm like, you called a timeout? And
is that the
came
one?
out of it.
I wonder if that's the one where Joseph Asai is lined up on like the slot, and they called a timeout. We were talking about that yesterday. And, I wondered if they were going to try to take advantage of it. I thought Texas had called the timeout because Texas, and Chad was talking about this too, because Texas had a kind of a defensive lineman where Joseph Asai was lined up on the slot, but it ended up where they called the timeout, and then they came out in a different formation, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But, but West Virginia calling the timeout there, I remember that. I do remember that. I wonder if it's the same play. Because they did call the timeout before a crucial, I think it was a 3rd down. I'm pretty sure it was a 3rd down. I was like, I wonder why they called the timeout there. They seem to have the alignment they wanted. And maybe you don't want Joseph. I mean, it seemed like Joseph Asai lined up covering the slot would have been exactly.
Yeah, it was in the second quarter. West Virginia called a timeout.
Yeah.
And then they come out of it. Martel Petaway runs for 2 yards. That was the one Keandre Coburn ran down.
And what was it, 3rd and what?
3rd and 9.
It just sounds like a very.
It was a weird. It was
wondering the play call. That's one where they just stuck in their own.
They're definitely gonna throw it, and what they come out and do?
Like it's like I don't know if it was an RPO, but it ends up being like a wide zone that just
ran on that.
Yeah, it was strange.
Texas got
penetration. I remember that because I thought it was a weird, just the whole transaction, like the three little instances there was really strange. But
outside of the run defense, which I thought, Joseph Osai, I talked to him after the game about this. He had a really good quote on this. He said basically the adjustment they made at halftime was they just realized they weren't tackling well. He said so they just realized they had to leverage the football better.
I counted 12 missed tackles. I don't know if that's that bad.
But I asked him about
most of those probably were in the first half.
I asked about what else changed, and he said basically their mentality changed, and Todd Orlando reiterated. And Joseph Osai said this is a quote from Todd Orlando, something he tells the defense all the time, especially in like RP, especially like for linebackers and safety, because as we know, those are the positions that are get put in conflict the most.
Yep.
And this is Joseph Osai on Todd Orlando. He says, I've never fired a guy for playing run first. When it's 50-50, play run first. So basically,
he wants you to
stop guessing and get downhill.
Yeah, just stop the run. Yeah. Stop the run, which is why I thought West Virginia early on would they would pass, right? We talked about they would pass on early downs on first and second down, and what they do early on, they threw the ball early. Like they want to throw it on first and second down because Todd Orlando's defense is going to, I think Oklahoma knows this too, they're going to sell out to stop the run. That's just naturally what he wants to do. He wants to make you one-dimensional, and the only way he can do that is to stop the run. It's the easiest thing for him to do. So teams that can come out and throw it, like LSU did, say, you know what, just screw it. Let's just come out and just slang it, man. You know what I mean? Then that naturally is going to throw Todd Orlando into kind of out of his comfort zone. Because then he can't make you one-dimensional because you have made yourself one-dimensional.
Yes. You're dictating the terms.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That basically is his philosophy on stopping the run. And Rod, I want to get your take on this. And I know we got compressed time on the show this week because we all got stuff to do. We're all busy this week. But and this is probably a dumb question, but I'll let you expand on it. As a defensive coordinator, can you put too much of an emphasis on stopping the run when you're struggling to defend the pass as much as Texas has?
I agree with Matt. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, the way that modern football is going, it just keeps on showing that passing, it just so worth it. It almost to pass every down, to go Leach, because what you get, if you look at just a percentage of variance on plays and the expected value that you get in the pass game, it literally sometimes can be like 4 or 5 times the value of the run game when you play it out over time. So like we saw LSU doing it and being like, no, it's pointless. You are just limiting your upside each time.
West Virginia started that way.
And then we loved that Gundy. And then Gundy gave us a gift.
And then Gundy stopped. Yeah, he's always running the ball more.
Lincoln Riley's going to come out throwing, and it's just really worth it. And you still have to run and be physical just so you don't become so predictable.
No doubt.
And that's why you still see Mike Leach run or him go get his own running back that he can dump the ball to and facilitate the run game. That's why we have a Duvernay. But that's why a game like this is just going to be like a video game when both teams maybe get to that. It took a while in the game last year against Kyler, but that second half, it's just ping-ponging back and forth.
No, I do think you need the running game, no question. But in terms of being able to keep the defense off balance, the pass is what shocks the defense.
Exactly.
The pass will shock the defense. The run, I mean, if you can listen, if you're Shanahan, you got concepts like that.
Yeah.
You got zone blocking concepts
and
like
Shanahan. You're just gonna run all over him.
Then he can run all over any damn body. But hell, man, that's the exception, not the rule. Not every Lincoln Riley does though.
And
like
then
Lincoln
now
Riley does have the counter trade concepts, the inside zone concepts, like a Shanahan.
That GT concept.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like he has that kind of stuff. So
he can go to it if you are neglecting one thing and he has that mismatch, he'll go to that
He
all
can
day.
specifically target where he wants to run the ball based on what your weakness is on your defensive front. Like, not everybody can do that.
Yeah,
Shanahan can do that.
I just asked the question out of respect because I know Todd Orlando, like I said, he wants to stop the run, and it's him dictating terms to the offense.
It works.
Where
It works.
I'm going to make you one-dimensional. But like we said, talked about it a few times now, LSU decided, why are we even going to waste our time running the ball?
But Joe Burrow also may be a first-round quarterback
That's
in some of the
true, too.
projections right now. LSU's offense is ranked like it's the greatest LSU offense in the history of LSU football.
And it's almost better
It
than
may
the
be the best
Oklahoma offense.
Yeah, exactly. It may be better than any offense in the SEC. You're right, as good as Oklahoma's.
Yes,
and they play better
it's
competition.
As good, and right there with the as good as Baker and Kyler's.
Exactly.
You have the Manziel, the Cam, and then you have this year OU and LSU in the top 10 right now.
So you have to have that quarterback that can do it. That's the thing that makes OU such a formidable opponent and a foe, right? Because you know they do have the quarterback guru behind it who can design those really, really expansive run concepts, but also they got a quarterback that can execute that, be the +1 in the running game, and every quarterback Lincoln Riley has is their best version of themselves as a passer. It's a Herculean task you're asking of Todd Orlando, but Todd Orlando always shows up to the he shows up with a great
very
plan.
odd. This game he's done very good in.
Yeah,
He did. It is.
It's
He rises
toughest
to the
matchup
occasion. He
ever.
does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll
But
get-
he's got less support than usual.
We'll get to OU in a minute, but the quarterback I want to talk about real quick is Sam Ehlinger. And we talk about the numbers Oklahoma's putting up. We talk about LSU's offense. Texas, even coming out of their 5th game of the year, they're ranked 4th in the country in SP Plus offense.
Yeah, they're getting it done.
And, it's funny because I thought this exact same thing, and I mentioned it to a couple of people in the press box, and it's funny that Tom Herman said him and Sam Ehlinger talked about it on Sunday. Sam Ehlinger had a quote-unquote bad game on Saturday. It was not his best game.
They said, did they say bad game, or are we saying that bad game?
Well,
because I said he had a B+ game versus LSU.
Yeah, well,
and I still think I'm right about that. He had his A game versus LSU.
I felt that wasn't his. I felt that wasn't his best game, but I said, man, there are times where if a Texas quarterback has that stat line, 18 for 33, 2 touchdown passes, 211, 2 rushing touchdowns. I said, if that's Tyrone Swoops or Gerard Hurd with that stat line, we're throwing a parade.
Agreed.
We're thinking times are good, man.
No, I'm with you. I agree.
Drink it in, man.
Yeah, but that's how good Sam is.
Remember when Gerard Hurd set the all-time record for Texas quarterbacks that still stands, I believe?
Gerard and I talked about that at Pro Day. I'm like, hey, man, always Cal. He's like, yeah, always got that Cal.
Sam will break that. Even Gerard said that. He said Sam will break it this year.
That single game,
probably
total offense.
Probably this year, this week. Yeah.
But but the point is, Tom Herman said him and Sam Ehlinger talked about it on Sunday at practice, and Sam even said, I didn't play my best. He's like, but my freshman year, we would have killed for a game like that. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. That just shows
That's
you
where
again,
he is.
like you talked about, like he's done. He's past the point of his career, right? I think we can safely say now where he's done having like just the game where like the bomb goes off and the bottom falls
His
off.
baseline is now the baseline of a conference player, like an all-conference player. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what he's going to play.
Satisfactory.
Yeah, he says he's going to play at that level almost every. Yeah, he's going to have the uncharacteristic interception or whatever. I mean, he's human. He's fallible, but yeah, for the most part, that guy, he's he's going to play like one of the best players in the country every week. I mean, so you can count on that. That's probably why Tom Herman's so loose at his press conference going to OU. He knows, I got the guy. I got the guy at quarterback, so I got a shot. I definitely got a shot.
I think there's another reason why he's a little bit loose, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But overall, Rod, you look at this West Virginia game, I thought a couple things. I thought, one, let's get to the offensive line because I think that's the easier thing to talk about, and the wide receivers, those two groups. I just thought the offensive line made better adjustments in the second half, and Sam Cosmi even said, with West Virginia, as much as they were stunting and as much movement as they were trying to create, it really made it hard for them to get on hard double teams, so they really just had to change up some things with their blocking scheme, and it worked much better in the second half. And you look at the receiver group in this game, and Devin Duvernay goes 6 for 86, and he runs for a touchdown. I think third down, even though Texas is 10 for 18, like it's hard to say they had a bad day on third down.
But they did.
Exactly. And I think third
to their standard, it shows where the standard's been raised.
I think third down is where you're going to see the benefit of having Colin Johnson back on the field.
Here's a stat for you from Sports Source Analytics. Before the West Virginia game, 7 FBS quarterbacks in 2019 had converted over 50% of the time on third down pass plays. Sam was number 1 in the country, ahead of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was at 52%. Sam was at 58%. In that game versus West Virginia, I want to say Sam passing was 6 of 14 on third down. So he was actually, he had dropped off a little bit. He was right under 50%. But if you add he had 3 third down runs, I believe, in that game too, that ended up converting to first downs, right? Maybe it was 4 first down runs from third down.
You're right.
He had a third and he had 3 because Duvernay had the other one because Duvernay's run was on 3rd and 5, I believe. He had a 3rd and run that was a 5-yard run. He had a 3rd and 13 that was an 18-yard run. And then he had the 3rd and 3 that went for 23 yards. Yes. So if you put those into the equation too, then he's actually kind of right around where he should be. He's converting every time you put the ball in his hands on third down, 55% of the time, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. He's a third down red zone machine.
Yeah.
He really is, man. It's unbelievable. It's great too.
And have that in the modern day, we talk about just having be able to deal in situations so well, and him in goal line situations is just so unquantifiable. And this week, though, Texas will be facing a similar version in Jalen Hurts, which Texas hasn't had to face. Even though you have Joe Burrow, he didn't necessarily have the run threat, more functional mobility, and not that two-headed monster that then is going to be able to also be a weapon in those situations. But you brought up Sam on third down, and this game was like really the first time you see Sam on passing downs really struggle. He was only 6 of 13 for 54 yards and was sacked twice. So normally those are situations where they've been able to make plays and not able to do it this past weekend.
Yeah, I think part of that too, Matt, you look at their average distance to go on third down was 7.4 yards.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of on the first drive alone, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9. Texas did not do a good job, especially in the first half, of winning on first down. But, Rod, they did in the second half. And
we know why. Rashawn Johnson is why.
And let's
be honest.
That's the difficult discussion.
It's not a difficult discussion. It's not. I said before the LSU game, and we've talked about it on the show. When you have a guy that moved from quarterback to running back, we talk about rate of development on the show all the time, and he's already in the conversation and competing with the guy who's been playing running back basically his entire career as a high level.
He's got 1 season of FBS football at running back under his belt.
Already under his belt, but in high school, that's what he was playing too. He was playing running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember, okay? And they're already competing, and we're having the conversation about who should be getting more reps or should he be getting as many reps. Guys, that's just simple. You ain't got to be a rocket scientist to understand, that guy is actually developing quicker and developing at a faster rate than this other guy.
Yeah, and that's the football IQ. Just some guys, though, with the ability to run and the way to fall and how you just naturally have it. Like, you can see that the talent or the body type or the prospect in Ingram may be something that is you see and you want to have.
See, I think we're examining way too much. No. Eye test. Dude, he maximizes runs better.
Agreed.
We don't even need to break it down. We don't even need to go into the footwork and the vision and all that. No. Just watch them when they get the ball.
Agreed.
Rashawn Johnson maximizes runs better than Keontae. It's just that simple. And you know what? This is not a slight on Keontae.
No.
All right? This is actually just a compliment to Rashawn Johnson and what he's doing. And by the way, I think the only reason you won't see Rashawn Johnson start is because they know mentally he's a tougher player. He's a tougher football player. So if you say I'm going to start Rashawn Johnson versus OU on that big stage, and we know he can play that because versus LSU he started out really, he was ready to go. And you bench Keontae, you know what's going to happen? Keontae may decide that he's checking out. He may mentally go, I'm checking out. He may not see it as a test. He may not see it as something that he needs to respond to. I think the coaches are worried about him mentally being a little fragile, all right, knee brace, really hard on himself. They're not worried about that with Rashawn. So don't Rashawn, you're gonna get the consistent Rashawn all the time, no matter what the situation.
Yes.
All right? But with Keontae, he's a bit of a, he's a bit of a, I'm going to say he's a diva, but he's fragile mentally at times. We know that. So if you want to get the best out of him, you must empower him. That's why he'll probably keep that starting spot no matter what. But Rashawn Johnson is, he's your better running back right now.
Yeah, he's the type of guy that when you just see on the field, you can tell that he's a guy that you don't have to worry. In a coach's mind, it really is something that makes you in a leverage situation in third down, or if it's in the second half, and when you need a guy out there that if he sees a Burrow and it needs to just go forward, get 4 yards, he can do it. But he's also a guy that mentally gets everything that we're doing, and it just relieves the stress of the offense if he's a guy that you can rely on every down.
Rod, here's the thing I want why I said it's a difficult conversation on the Roschon Johnson issue. The difficult part for me is with Keontae Ingram, and he's almost an enigma at this point. And I don't say that in a bad way. It's just, like you said, it's is he in his head from after the LSU game? Is it the knee brace? The difficult part is I don't know if we can count on running back being something that this team can hang their hat on, because the guy you can count on the most is a guy that a month and a half ago was a quarterback.
Yeah.
And that just brings the question for me, especially in this game. I don't know if you can count on the fact that Keontae Ingram is a guy that you can say is a championship caliber back. I was thinking that by this point in the season, we would feel like, okay, we've got a clear answer on whether he is that guy. And there's a lot we were talking about in the preseason ad nauseum. We thought, hell, when we talked about the 10 most important guys, like the most indispensable guys on this roster,
I think he was like top 3
I had him at
or 4.
number 2.
Yeah, you're
Well,
right.
I mean, just
Behind
a couple
Ehlinger.
weeks ago,
Yeah.
we were saying if he runs like that, that's going to be a good Keontae
against
Ingram
Oklahoma
to see.
State. Yeah.
But that's the thing. You're not getting that Keontae Ingram
Consistently.
week to week.
You're not getting it consistently. And I think you hit the nail on the head, because you said the running back position overall. Because, yeah, Rashawn's great, but he's also a true freshman?
True freshman.
That switched from quarterback to running back. Keontae Ingram is a fragile in a lot of different ways. Kirk Johnson come back. Yes, he looked great, but I mean, I wish I was
Sort of
wood
reminds
I
me
could
of
knock
when
on here.
Sam-
It's still Kirk Johnson. He hadn't
when Sam
played
took over
since
after a few
2015.
games.
Then you got Daniel Young, who you love Daniel Young, but Daniel Young is also dealt with it. I agree. The running back position overall, I don't know if it's something that you go into the OU game saying, oh, yeah, I can count on this to go win the game.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
don't think you're
You
confident
better
about
have
it at all.
Bam Bam Sam in the quarterback design run game ready to go. I did count, I think, 3 design runs in the game versus West Virginia, which I think would bring the total to 15
On
total
the 16,
on the season.
yeah.
Yeah, but they haven't used him a lot, and this
No.
may be the game you get him 15 total, runs period in this game versus Oklahoma.
Yeah, even more. I mean, we've seen
Yeah.
over 20 in certain situations like
Yeah.
this with him.
In terms
He's
of
averaging
scrambles
in,
or designs,
in
yeah.
big
Neil,
games like
Neil
18.
Brown did say after the game, though, the 23-yard touchdown that Sam had, he said, man, that zone follow plays, like if you got a running quarterback, is really hard to stop.
It is, especially with a guy like Sam.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I love that when they break out some of the design runs, and we're going to see on both sides in the OU game.
You're gonna
Great
see-
design
you're
runs.
gonna see design
concepts.
quarterback runs in this game. But so, Rod, that begs the question. Like we were talking about, the Larry Fedora factor with the RPOs, the Andre Coleman factor with the quarterback run game. Here's the question: it's a two-sided coin. Did we overblow how much, and we probably did to an extent, how the importance of bringing those two guys into this program, or man, is this finally the game where you see, all right, all these changes that this staff has talked about, and we've heard behind the scenes that they're going to make, and this, that, and the other. This is the game where you kind of unleash all that.
I don't know if that happens. I think
Yeah.
they are what they are. I
Yeah.
think we're seeing it. I think they've missed Colin Johnson. I think getting him back will be a huge presence, because now you saw West Virginia, right? They late in the game, like, we're taking Duvernay away. We're gonna give inside help on Duvernay and ask that corner kind of be over the top and have outside leverage. And they didn't take Duvernay away, but Duvernay wasn't as effective in the second half as he was in the first half. And you could tell there were things they were doing. I think Oklahoma's gonna try to do the same thing. They're gonna force Texas to go somewhere else to beat them, whether it be an injured Colin Johnson or whether it be Brennan Eagles or somebody else. Somebody else will have to step up. If Duvernay's able to beat him, that's just because he's just that great of a player. They're going to pay a lot of attention to Duvernay. You know what I mean? So, but getting to that point, remember we said the offense was going to be either based on two things: the power running game and the deep ball, right? And strangely enough, because of the injuries at running back, you don't really have the power running game, and they really haven't utilized or weaponized Sam in that respect yet either. So you almost have the offensive line has been so much better than we thought. That basically has been the genesis of your running game, not really the guys that are running the football. It's the offensive line being able to impose their will on their opponent. And you haven't used Sam yet, but you still have had the deep ball, right? It's just strange the way now that game versus West Virginia, I think there were more deep. I'm talking about 10 yards or more targets for Duvernay than he had in any game so far this year. right? They were down. He only had one target, I think, that was like within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage or behind it.
Yeah.
Most of his targets were down the field. I think that may be another wrinkle they throw in there, that he's more down the field, and you start seeing, Colin Johnson back. You get that deep ball passing threat as a part of the offense again.
Yeah.
But we don't have the power running game.
No,
power running game is not really what's the staple of the offense right now.
And the deep ball, real quick, Matt, I know you got a point you want to make. The deep ball, that's one thing I mentioned in my instant reactions piece right after the game. This staff has to do a better job of scheming up deep balls because they're real predictable when they go deep. It's almost like after a first down, they're throwing it on first down, but it's going to be a shot to Brennan Eagles.
I agree with that.
And I just feel like you've got to scheme it up differently or break tendency, something. Like, that can be an effective part of this offense, but I just think you've got to just do a little more to maximize that a little bit.
That's a good point. Sam did miss. Remember the pick he threw, the deep post? He did.
That was underthrown.
He underthrew. He did miss Duvernay that was running the corner route. Go watch him. Duvernay cuts that corner before he throws it, which also been kind of a deep ball. So, you're right. The deep ball has not been as effective as it should have been. I think Colin Johnson not being there just changes the dynamic of that concept of throwing it deep.
No, that's true.
You know what I mean?
And he's been able to get a few just on the backside of the offense, but
Yeah,
it's
with
because
Eagles.
of the attention drawn by Duvernay. And like you said, Rod, Duvernay's role sort of shifted because you see how he's used when it's 3rd and long. Sam was looking and converting consistently.
Exactly right.
3 of them on that first drive, I believe,
point.
to Duvernay because it was a situation where he needed to. The thing was, I haven't looked at the box score. I think Duvernay didn't catch a ball in the second half. If he did, he only caught one of them.
I think.
So,
maybe,
and it ended up being to where you could tell in certain situations we've seen him be missing in the first half of the LSU game, which was more of a good job to LSU. I think this game situation was because now he's actually garnering the attention of a top-tier wide receiver, which is only going to help, like you said, Colin and the other guys that are going to be out there. It's just up to Sam to find them, and that's a great thing about Sam this year. Sam just seems to be so comfortable at going and finding each progression, and you can tell he's looking 1, 2, 3, 4. He's seeing every receiver on the field, and if you're in that type of situation against Oklahoma, that's whenever you can maybe pull a big play because you look at like Duvernay, you would assume understanding Riley and then even that staff, since it's like nowadays you look at good defensive coaches like Belichick, but then it's the best way to operate offenses. You just go see like what do you not want to stop? What could be the thing? And it's sort of the opposite version with this, like Lincoln Riley seeing that this offense is funneled through that H, and that H, if you stop that position, no matter what, it's going to change and alter the entire offense to be different.
Totally agree.
And so that's why I think Lincoln can still have an impact, even though he's an offensive-minded guy here.
Yeah,
the where Colin Johnson helps you the most, Rod, is I think I mentioned it at the top. 3rd down, I think, is where he's going to be most impactful, but this is a game where you're going to need to get chunk yardage plays, and people don't. This is where I think people get stuff twisted. They don't think of Colin. You don't think of Colin Johnson when you think chunk yardage plays, but he's not going to obviously not going to be a big yak guy. People are like, well, he doesn't separate. Well, guys like him, your catch radius, your ability to high point the football, that is your separation.
Yeah.
So if you throw him a vertical route at 30 yards, it's not going to go for more than 30. But chances are it's going to hit more often than not. That's your chunk yardage play.
People said the same thing about Will Fuller last week going into fantasy, saying, no, he doesn't have yards after the catch. It's like, but he's getting targeted 40 yards downfield. You're getting tackled as you catch the D-ball.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it comes down to the simple concept of who do you want to double team. You're going to double team Colin Johnson or you're going to double team Duvernay. You can't double team them both consistently.
Exactly.
And when those two guys on the field together, and then that means Brennan Eagles is going to be on one-on-one all the time. So then it works out where, I can give my 4 or 5 shots to Brennan Eagles down the field. Then I can just basically choose who's open, Duvernay or Colin Johnson, who's in one-on-one. So I think Colin Johnson being back is huge. Just the same domino effect you talk about taking Duvernay out of the mix and what that does to the offense. Adding a guy like Colin Johnson has that positive domino effect.
Perfect timing.
It is perfect timing. Yeah, it really is.
And there is nothing on film really with it being worked.
Well,
this way.
as Jeff said, you know what Colin Johnson's going to do. Everybody knows that. He's not separating from you, but if you're one-on-one and that ball goes up, it's a rebound, and he's 6'6", and you're probably 5'10", 11.
But
The
at least the
Oklahoma
film with
corners,
Colin Johnson, though.
Parnell Motley at 6 foot, Trey Brown at 5'10".
Yeah.
There you go.
And then you add
You know what I
on
mean?
that the way that this offense normally you had been schemed if you're stopping the pass game, it used to be stop Colin Johnson until the last 4 games when Duvernay's emerged, which is a different world for Johnson.
Duvernay's probably our second best runner, period, with the football on the offense. I mean, I'm not joking. I'm talking about behind.
The best.
He might be. He might be the best. I'm talking about, I mean, in terms of running, you just get the football in their hands. Like, who are the best runners?
Who's
I mean,
number one, Sam or Roshan?
Keontae Ingram 4th in that conversation.
That's what I'm saying. I think Sam might be more natural. I'm serious. I think it's probably Rashawn, and I think it's probably Duvernay after that.
I feel like this podcast is turning like a bash Keontae Ingram.
It's not at all.
But
look at Duvernay on that run, that 13-yard touchdown run. Dude, that was really impressive. Like, I was like, are you serious? Did he just really break a tackle and get 8 yards after contact on basically, not on the goal line, but right there in the red zone? That's pretty amazing, man. I love that package, by the way. I love that split back with, that basically 21 personnel ends up being with Duvernay in the backfield with Sean. That's what
sexy,
you were
man.
I thought that's what we wanted with Jordan Whittington. With Jake Smith. Matter of fact, we wanted it with both of them.
But that's what that's what I like about this staff. We're seeing that because it is exactly what we wanted in that situation.
They do it with Jake. You're right. They can do it with Jake.
And it's the opposite of going, and then you can still go, and if you do it with Jake, you can split out wide, but then to pull in a DB.
And I thought Whittington
don't see that. It's just something you don't see in college.
That's what Whittington was supposed to be, that guy, man. I love that.
That can cause pre-snap confusion.
Yeah.
Between the Sam Cosmi touchdown, which, by the way,
beautiful. That was a beautiful play design. Yeah, I agree. Let's just give it up for Tom.
Mm-hmm.
That was just.
You want to make me happy? Scheme up a fat guy touchdown. I won't have much negative to say about you offensively.
And I can't remember seeing one. Stutter said his dad caught one in the NFL or had one rushing in the league. It's just rare to see a big boy get rumbled down the sideline.
Sam Cosmi is now the envy of every offensive lineman in America at every level of football. And he also just became every offensive coordinator's worst nightmare because now every high school meeting room there's going to be somebody that says, "Coach, why don't we scheme up that tackle screen?"
I think he also made himself some money. I think NFL scouts.
Athleticism.
Holy hell, that dude can run at a tackle. He looked pretty fast.
Athletic,
I wonder what his 40 is. I bet he can run like a 5'1" or 5'2", man. He looked pretty fast.
I don't know how much longer he is for that job, but Kevin Colbert, the Steelers GM, was in the house on Saturday.
Was he? Hey, man, I'm telling you, Sam looked – he just made himself some money because now they were talking about athleticism at the left tackle. That dude looked like a freaking tight end running up the field.
Oh, that'll be on his draft highlight reel.
Oh, no question.
When he's taken,
yeah. I can already hear like Todd McShay and Milk them talking about it.
I like that you know the draft.
Straight edge speed.
Let's we'll stick with the Texas offense because I want to talk about this Oklahoma defense. And Rod, I don't know how much you've seen of Oklahoma this year, but
I watched
the big change for them to me has been kind of what I thought Alex Grinch would do. The talented guys they've got in the defensive front, he was going to get the most out of them. And whether it's Ronnie Perkins or Neville Gallimore, you've seen them get the best out of their guys on their defensive front so far. I think their corners are better.
They're more aggressive.
I don't know if I'd call them great yet, but their corners are better.
They're playing with more confidence and more aggressive.
There you go.
No question.
Man, I still don't know about their safeties, Rod. The Pat Fields or Turner Yell or Robert Barnes, I don't know.
But let's admit, this is what we talked about with Oklahoma. They're better. That defense is better. And we always said, okay, so if we just assume the offense is going to be Lincoln Riley's freaking offense, which so far it's been just like we always thought. Lincoln Riley's freaking offense, no matter who the quarterback is, and you got a high-level quarterback playing. And you add an actual defensive identity. Now, they haven't played an offense as good as Texas offense, so this will be a huge test for them. But that defense is better. I actually saw a stat before the Kansas game, by the way. Puka ran on them early now. Puka.
They went up 7-0. I was like, hey.
It was like a 99-yard drive or something, right? It was a 99-yard drive.
Texas can have some of those.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, but Puka's one of the best running backs in the country. Let's not get it twisted for Kansas. He is. But I looked at the sports analytics, and before that game, they had Oklahoma's defense at the second best stuff rate in college football, I believe, behind Auburn's D-line. And they hadn't played anybody. Auburn's played better competition, but they're better, man. They're actually making more splash plays on defense, period. Can they do it against Texas? I'm not sure they can do that consistently versus Texas.
I mean, that same Kansas team last year, Rod, had like 40 points and 600, 500 something total yards on them last year.
That's a great point. To gauge your improvement by a Kansas game, you're right. It's not what you usually do. That's not the barometer, but you're right. That defense is better, man.
They're better.
Yeah, I think for them the test is going to be, you just said it, the safeties. Who matches up with Duvernay in the slot? Are you going to move one of those corners? Because what's the guy that got hurt in the preseason? That really hurts him
Trey
now.
Norwood.
Yes, because Trey Norwood was like a safety / corner.
He
right?
probably would have been their nickel in this game.
He was a corner. They had moved to safety and right back. He would have been the guy they matched up on him. And not that he would have been able to cover Duvernay, but it would have been I think he'd have been a lot more effective than whoever they're going to throw out there now.
Radley Hiles will be their nickel. He's been their nickel.
Yeah, you know what? That's going to be a tall task for him against Duvernay. Then depending on how they use him, they could just use him. And that's the thing about Duvernay that makes him so impressive. If I just want to see if you can tackle in the open field, I can do that and throw him, basically screens behind the line of scrimmage. If I want to see if you can run downfield, I can see if you can, keep up with this track star.
I think though
Test it either way.
I think that's a great matchup though. That Oklahoma defensive line and throw Kenneth Murray in there because they use him in a lot of different ways. That Oklahoma front against that Texas offensive line, and like we said, I thought the Texas offensive line did a really good job of making adjustments against West Virginia because they did not have a good first half.
No, them Steele brothers. We told you about them Steele brothers now. Dante and Darius. The boys can play.
You talked the most of Steele's brothers that I heard anybody.
They can play, man.
Did you see the one play Vandarius Cowan made where he blew through Keontae Ingram?
Looked like he belonged at Bama then, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think one of those guys will make all conference, if not both of them. Like, they're really good players.
Yeah. Dude was looking like Marcel Darius out there. Like, literally. I was like, man.
But to your point, there were adjustments made. I still think Texas at the line of scrimmage in this matchup versus their D-line, Texas O-line, I'm still going to give the advantage to Texas there. And that's big in this game, man. We talk about how big the rushing battle is in Texas OU. I'll give the stat. People have heard it plenty of times. Since 1999, the team that wins the rushing battle is 17-2. They tied in 2006, so they think they both tied at 124. You win the line of scrimmage, man. It's big in this game.
I was looking back at some box scores from this series the other day. Do you realize in 2014 Texas held Oklahoma to 232 total yards and lost the game?
They only had 103 yards rushing and lost that game.
Yeah, because Texas turned it over like 4 times or something.
Crazy, man.
They gave up the kickoff return for a touchdown, and then Swoops had a pick 6.
Yeah, well, there were 3 non-offensive scores in that game, I believe. There were 2 pick 6s or something.
Yeah, no, it's crazy if you start looking at it. How did Texas in 2015 rush for 313 yards?
Deontay.
Well, 81 of that was one run by Deontay Foreman.
They ran it 58 times.
That's
in fact, Browns last year they ran it 60 times for 255.
Now that was just
they dominated that one.
I remember that was when Case was just like slanging it deep.
That was like the last time the run game may have mattered exclusively in Texas OU.
I remember when Case dropped that one in the bucket to Mike Davis. Remember that on the corner?
Yeah.
I just threw my pin in there in the press box. I'm like, 99 times out of 100, he doesn't make that throw. It's nowhere close. And like this was the one time where it was
NFL
like
throws
just
out there.
put it over the back shoulder. It was right there.
So yeah, I agree. There are a lot of things you can throw out because it's a rivalry game and you don't know who's going to show up, who's not going to show up. But, man, you win the line of scrimmage. The majority of the times you got a really good chance to win this game.
And this your stuff rate that you brought up, Oklahoma, still in top 25 in the nation. They're 24th in the nation in stuff rate. So I guess Puka maybe won some stuff.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Puka dropped them down.
Yeah, he's single-handed.
This is why I'm going to give a sneak peek into my prediction that we'll make here in a minute. This is why I like Texas in this game because – I watched Lincoln Riley's press conference, and it's like north of the Red River, it's almost like nobody remembers that Oklahoma won the Big 12 championship game last year. They just remember that Oklahoma lost that game and the way they lost it, which was Texas just physically being the better football team. And Lincoln Riley's getting all these questions about toughness and physicality. Tom Herman didn't get any of those questions, and do you know why? Do you know it's because like what I said? Do you know when you're a physical football team? Do you know how you know you're physical? When you stop talking about being physical.
I agree. No, we all agree.
When it's no longer a surprise to say, "Oh, Texas is really physical." No, that's just what they are now.
We saw it. We saw it Tom Herman's first year when they played USC. I remember USC guys going down. I'm like, damn. Like they were just getting hurt. It was just the physicality of the game. They weren't like injured where they couldn't go back. They were literally they would go down. Texas would be a physical team and wear you down. LSU, asked them about it. And I know it was the heat part of it too, but no, Texas is just a physical team,
Georgia.
Man. Yeah, like that Texas. I've seen them do that to premier Power 5 football programs. So I know Texas physical. I agree with you. Even you could argue sometimes too physical. The B.J. Foster hitman hits and stuff like, you know what I mean?
Knocking himself out, getting his everything.
I'm like, B.J. Foster, come, it's all good, man. It's all good.
You're back already, and you're gonna knock.
He truly is the hitman. Like, he is.
Can I get on something real quick on the B.J. Foster?
He's gonna get fined a lot in the NFL.
He will. Yes, he will.
They'll make a lot of money.
They reviewed that for targeting, and as you played a position
and it was
where
not targeting.
you played a position where you had to make a lot of open field tackles, and it's a bang bang play. How can you even review that for targeting? Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, yes, it looked violent, but he's not leading with the crown of his head. He's hitting face up. He strikes the guy in the chest. Like, what else are you supposed to do?
And they did say it wasn't targeting.
Right.
Yeah, but
and it's because it was so violent. And I think it was just so violent on that side.
I think it was just so
They're
violent.
Like, we got to take a look just to make sure we don't miss it. It's just where we're at in football.
I think Matt's right. It was just so. It was, man. It was. I was like, wow.
I was like, oh yeah.
I hope he was.
And then I was like, so happy it was the first half because if he gets ejected, he's only this game and it's not Texas OU.
Yeah. No, he's just like violent.
Literally,
he's just a
so
violent
happy.
player. But that's why I think Tom Herman just likes guys like that who are violent. I mean, Sam Ehlinger is the epitome of the physicality.
Err on that
right?
side of aggression and deal with the casualty if it comes. It's the same way the Seahawks and Patriots have played defense for the last decade.
That's going to lead me to our discussion here on the Texas defense. But if you're Oklahoma, do you spy Sam Ehlinger, Rod?
I think you have to situationally. You can't do it every down. Obviously, you'll get yourself in trouble. I think situationally, yeah, you have to. Like, look, we just talked about third down, right? He had 3 third-down runs versus West Virginia. One was the 23-yard run. I think all of them went for first downs. Third down, you definitely spying Sam Ehlinger. You got to, right?
Yeah.
And I think, depending on if it's you think he's going to predict as a passing. Now we know Tom Herman in the red zone, right? He likes to throw the ball on first down. Trust me, they know that, all right? They know he likes to throw it on first down like 80% of the time in the red zone. They actually threw that John Burr touchdown in the red zone, first down.
Yeah.
I believe the Sam Cosmi, even though it was a run, I believe that was on first down. In the red zone. Now, first down in the red zone, Tom Herman's going to throw it, dog. He does it every time. So they might decide then to put a spy on him in situations like that. It depends on what it is. Yeah. And by the way, Sam in the red zone is just sick. You know that Sam's career, 64% of all of his touchdowns have come in the red zone.
Yeah,
out of 72 touchdowns, 44 have come.
I'm just looking at the fourth quarter. They threw it on first down. The drive where Duvernay had the rushing touchdown, they threw it to him. That was a little corner route that DB made a play on it.
Oh, that was.
Yeah,
that was
the first.
Is that a
pass.
drop for Duvernay?
I don't know if you count that as a drop.
I don't know
either.
either. It's a PBU. This is a good play by the DB, actually.
Yeah. I'm just looking here.
Yeah. No,
yes, the Sam Cosmi throwback was on the first.
And
down.
I know it's considered a run, but
it's a throw. You're taking a risk.
And that other flea flicker, as you pointed out, was also on first down. The other one to Cade Brewer. Yeah. It was the first down one. First down in the red zone. If something funky's coming, and he's going to throw it on first down.
Watch him break tendency and start running now.
Exactly. And you know what? And I would applaud him. I'd be like, yes, do it. That's exactly right.
Keep them on their
This
toes.
is the game to do it. This is the game to break. I'm glad you brought that. This is the game to break tendency. This is the game to come out with Jake Smith in the 10 personnel package. You know what I mean? Like, this is that game. Like, these are the games where you do that and you go, damn, I ain't seen Texas run 4 wide. Damn,
that's why I asked you the question earlier about Larry Fedora and Andre Coleman, because I tend to agree with you. I think they are what they are at this point. I don't think you're going to see anything drastic, any more drastic changes other than what we've seen. But because this isn't the game where if you're not 100% comfortable running something, you don't do it in this game. Exactly. Unless you've been working on it since preseason. and remember that Jake Smith running back deal that Smith the scrimmage?
Yeah, like you said, some funky stuff with Larry Fedora, the design run game for the quarterbacks
probably
that we haven't seen that
sprinkle
much
that
of.
stuff in here and there.
Yeah,
but maybe there's a couple wrinkles that Oklahoma hasn't seen on film, but. Man, the nuts and bolts of your offense, your bread and butter, it's in, and you are who you are. The interesting battle for me with the Texas offense against the Oklahoma defense is third down. Because I think Texas is third in the country in third down offense. Oklahoma's like second or third in third down defense.
Yeah, but Texas has played, I think, a little bit more.
When you're
better competition.
Look, when you're converting,
also OU, you're right. It's 10 of 51 on third down defense, but they're giving up 5 of 10 on fourth down defense when you combine those inside there. So
what are they ranked in third down defense?
Well, 10 for 51, where against the good teams they've stopped them, but then it's sort of an erratic small sample size. Whenever they're horrible in fourth down.
They haven't faced a quarterback as good on third down as Sam. Sam is, we just pointed out, one of the best third down quarterbacks in the country, whether it be passing or running.
When you're converting 8 for 15 on third down against LSU, you're a pretty good third down offense.
That's what I'm saying. Like Texas, that'll be with you. That'll be kind of the chess match right there. I will say this too: turnovers. You know what? Turnovers are going to be big. We've always talked about that. Matter of fact, stat for you since 1999: teams that wins the turnover margin 16-3. Todd Orlando's teams the last couple of games. Well, last time they've given up a lot of yardage, forcing turnovers. Oklahoma State, they forced 2 turnovers and gave up, 490-something yards. They almost gave up 500 to Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
But it was the turnovers, right, that flipped it in their favor. Same thing versus West Virginia. Same thing earlier this year versus Louisiana Tech. If he ain't forcing turnovers, Texas is going to lose this game.
Yeah,
the reason Texas won the first Texas OU game against Kyler Murray.
Got 3 of them.
Had
Really,
3 of
the third was on the last.
The third was on the
play,
last, but still, you had multiple turnovers.
You turn those 2 turnovers into 10 points.
Boom, and then in the second matchup in the Big 12 title game, you only forced 1.
And that's other than the blown opportunity at the goal line against LSU, the offense has been really good and sudden changes. 10 turnovers turn into 45 points.
I love that red zone stat that Texas has been in the red zone, 18 times and has 16 touchdowns?
Red zone
and no field goals in the red zone. That means Tom Herman's like, hell no, I get to the red zone in the Big 12. I'm
glad Tom Herman's like, we don't have to
matters.
wonder why he goes for it so much. He's openly admitting I don't like kicking field goals.
I don't like field goals.
No, I'm not kicking field goals.
I don't even call my kickers by name. I'm not trotting that guy out there.
The second I started to, he missed one.
And he's got Sam. If he
Yes,
didn't have Sam,
that's
crazy.
Matt, we talk about red zone, and you and I have been on this. Like red zone rate's one of those things where people can get twisted. Like, oh, you're X percentage. Yeah, well, you're kicking a lot of field goals down there, but
you got a bad one.
You're
it's unbelievable. Yeah.
You've got 18 touchdowns, 16 scores, but all your 16 scores are touchdowns.
Touchdowns. He don't only kick field goals and don't try anything.
Then we got stuffed twice at the one by LSU. That's it. Those are the only 2.
Oh, those are the only 2.
Those are the only 2.
Wow.
And one of those, Keontae Ingram dropped a touchdown.
Yeah.
Dude, that just blew my mind.
It's
I didn't even
awesome.
think about that. Wow.
And we're talking about line yards and line of scrimmage and how Oklahoma had a good
crazy.
stuff rate. Texas's offensive stuff rate is 17th in the nation. So Texas, very, very good in that
and is that
situation.
basically is
being able to be successful in that situation, the opposite end.
I think Matt throwing that in there, I think
that.
the bottom line on that battle is we're about to really see how much improved Oklahoma's defense is.
I agree with that.
Because you're about to play a real legit offense. Like, if Oklahoma's making plays, then I think Oklahoma fans can feel like win or lose because the carrot dangling in front of both these teams, especially Oklahoma, given what happened last year, if you lose this game, you can run the table and get Texas again. I think even if Oklahoma loses this game and they see you're
totally
in other words, and all that, my incoherent rambling right there, if you're an Oklahoma fan, you're going to see tangible signs one way or the other on what this defense is. It's a referendum game on this defense.
It is. I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Let's look at the Texas defense against the Oklahoma offense. And, Rod, for me, the big thing for me is I think you could see a game plan really similar to the game plan Texas used against Oklahoma State, where they're playing trap coverage on one side of the field. Instead of Tyler Wallace, wherever CeeDee Lamb goes, you bracket him and devote resources to the run so you can be aggressive. Use Chris Brown as kind of a spy, and that Chris Brown thigh injury, that's why that's huge. And I think that's – look.
It's a dangerous game.
It is, but –
I mean, it's Calcaterra, Rambo.
It is. But, hey, if I'm Todd Orlando, I'm going to say, look, if Jalen Hurts can drop the 40-yard post route in the bucket and tight coverage, then – okay, their guy just made a play and our guy didn't.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be it once again, and this is one thing about Orlando too, because in that game versus West Virginia, I remember you having the 3-man front early on, and then kind of moving Joseph Osai up there to be kind of a 4-man.
They were
front.
Nickel personnel the whole game because I don't think they were in dime at all.
I think they went nickel the whole game. Well, I got to go back and track it, but I'm with you. I think they went nickel the whole game. The point is, in the game versus OU, you can't wait to adjust. I heard Bucky talking about this, and I totally agree. You go more than a drive with a bad defense or something that can be exploited, then you may be out of this game quickly. Like you got to adjust on the fly. Like, oh man, we got to go 4-man front. Go. Oh, we got to go down. Let's go.
Muschamp talked about his first one was so overwhelming. He couldn't believe how fast it was.
That's exactly right. So I think for Todd, and Todd Orlando knows this. I'm not telling him he doesn't know, but I think that. So I think based on that, you don't go with just one coverage and one look and one concept every down situation. You got to feel it, the momentum. You got to know, man, I got to tell you, Deshaun's holding up pretty good. Oh, no, man, this corner needs some help. Oh, man, Anthony Cook came to play today. Who knew that? You know what I mean? You don't know until you get out there because these guys have never been in that environment. Yeah. So that's why Todd Orlando's it's going to be pitiful for him to read the defense, read the players, and go, okay, this is what we can play. We can play this. Oh, this is what Lincoln Riley's trying to do. Okay, he's trying to get me with these concepts, and I can do this. You're not going to know that until you get to that game. You really will have no idea.
For you as a player, you played in Big 12 championship games. You played against LSU in a Cotton Bowl. You played, at Kyle Field. You played at Nebraska, at K-State.
Yeah.
You played in great teams and good environments. But everybody I've talked to says, man, when you're in that game, in that stadium, man, it just moves a little faster.
Everything does. Yeah. So you'll be ready for, he likes the inside zone. He likes to trade counter, linking around. You'll know how to stop the basic concepts of everything he does. But he's going to make it look funky. He's going to put in a different formation, different personnel package. That's what Shanahan does everywhere. It's the same zone blocking scheme his dad was running winning Super Bowls in the 90s. But nobody's like, man, they can't stop it. Yeah, because he added a little funk, a little pre-snap motion, and a little orbit motion. And then he did this, did that, and the quarterback turned this way. It's all about those little wrinkles, and that's what Lincoln Riley does so well.
I'll tell you why I like
use check too.
I'll tell you why
he's got a juice check.
As we get into predictions now, I'll tell you why I like Texas in this game. I like Texas in this game, Rod, for one of the reasons you said at the top. Sam Ehlinger, you can debate whether he's the better quarterback, but I think this is a game Sam Ehlinger needs to win. Like, he's played really well in some of these games, and like we talked about after the LSU game, Joe Burrow's been a little bit better, or Will Grier was a little bit better. In the Big 12 championship game, Kyler Murray was a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think this is when Sam Ehlinger needs kind of to start really building the legacy if it's going to trend the way it looks like it can trend.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And gosh, Sam Ehlinger's played so well in this game as a true freshman last year.
He
Even a Big 12
hasn't had a bad
championship
one.
game.
He hasn't had a bad one.
Oklahoma brings in, and considering how he was raised, why wouldn't Oklahoma bring out the best in Sam Ehlinger?
Yeah.
But the other reason you mentioned it, like Tom Herman was loose on Monday. Like, he's answering reporters' phones when they're going off, which, by the way, I don't know whose phone that was. That's amateur move not to have your phone.
I thought it was Bob Ballou's phone.
Was it Bob's?
No, he was just on the mic. Yeah, Ed Clemens is who I'd accuse because he was the only guy to say, no, don't answer it, because there was one person that said, don't answer it.
He said it was Bob Ballou's phone. So
I don't know. I don't know whose phone it was, but that's amateur move not having your phone in airplane mode if you're going to set it up there to report a press conference.
Very true.
So, reporter etiquette.
But Tom Herman didn't call him out. That gets your point. He's in a good mood. Yeah. He didn't call him out.
And he's kind of making jokes, and he's cracking jokes with Ed Clemens because Ed always asks about trick plays, and he's cracking jokes about trick plays before. Yeah. And I'm like, man, he's loose.
Talking about the old lady.
I watched Lincoln Riley's press conference, and he just kind of seemed guarded, and like I listened to him on the Big 12 conference call, and he seemed really annoyed, and he didn't want to talk about.
Is that because his two offensive tackles might not play?
I think that has something to do with it.
And it's just sort of Lincoln's personality too.
His two starting offensive tackles are like questionable for the game, and that may have a lot to do with it.
But I think this, Rod, and you can speak to this. In the early portion of the Mac Brown Bob Stoops era of this rivalry, Mac got tight in these games.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I remember those days.
I think the roles reversed. I think Texas has the coach that's loose, that plays it how this game should be played, where, hey, you guys know what to do. You're in the best position to go make plays. Go do it. We've coached you well. We've trained you well. We prepared you for this. Go play. And I think you've seen in Oklahoma, especially like last year, they got kind of tight.
Yeah, even when Lincoln was there with Bob, yeah, it's weird. During the Charlie era, it
2015.
was a tight situation. So, like, all the time Charlie that Lincoln's been there, it's been sort of this theme narrative around the team.
In 2015, Lincoln Riley even talked about it in his press conference. Like, that was the game. They didn't play well in any phase of the game, which, I don't know, it's a weird game. Like, Texas went on like a four corners basketball offense, like in the second quarter, just trying to get the heck out of there. But the point is, I think Oklahoma's got the tight coach in this game. I think you saw that in the way they played this game last year. And you saw, like, you realize Oklahoma hasn't, I'm talking about the regular season only, not the Big 12 championship game. Oklahoma hasn't covered a point spread in the regular season since 2012, the last blowout.
I can believe that.
And they've won outright. Texas won outright as huge underdogs.
But I also will say that Texas hasn't been playing for as much. The truth is Texas has been the underdog because Texas' program has been down, so they haven't had the pressure. The truth is the pressure in this game is supposed to be high on both sides because it's national title implications for both. But it hasn't been that case for us. All right, let's be honest. The reason that they have been playing tight is because for them, it's been national title hopes on the line year in and year out. That hadn't been the case for Texas. Like, it's free money for us now.
House money.
That should be changing. So,
but it doesn't change. It doesn't change this year, though, Rod, because I think Tom Herman looked at that 10.5, 10-point spread, whatever it was when it came out. That's right where he wants to be.
You're right. He loves the underdog role, but it's still that's where it's supposed to be. That's why coaches get tight. That's why Mac Brown used to get tight in the game because Mac Brown knew, damn, I lose this game, I'm probably out of the national championship discussion. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a lot of pressure.
Texas is right now.
That's what Texas should be. You know what I mean? I remember when Mac before the 2009 national title game, I said the same thing. I said, dude, Mac is loose.
Yeah.
One thing he was cracking jokes, talking trash about Nick Saban. He's talking all. I'm like, man, why is Mac so loose before this game? I think it was Colt. I think he knew healthy Colt. I'm gonna win this damn game, and that's why he was loose. And he didn't have a healthy Colt the whole game. If he did, I think he'd have won too. Yeah. Quarterbacks have to be loose, man.
All right. Anything you guys, because we didn't go deep into the Texas offense against the Oklahoma defense, or I'm sorry, the Oklahoma offense against the Texas defense. Anything else, Rod, that you want to add or that you think is
no, it's just a quarterback design runs. I think Todd Orlando's record since 2010 versus quarterbacks who lead their team in rushing or finish second on the team in rushing is now, after playing Spencer Sanders and Renning, it is now 14-12. Keep in mind, hell, even Nick Saban has been, even he has been conquered by a transcendent dual threat quarterback. So this guy is, I think I would put him in that discussion as a transcendent dual threat quarterback. People also love the stat that first-time starters in this game at the quarterback position. They keep throwing that stat out there that the first-time starting quarterbacks since 1990 are 14-1 against quarterbacks who have started the Texas OU game. I don't think that matters because Jalen Hurts has played in national title games
Auburn,
Alabama. So I don't think that doesn't apply in this situation, but I think it usually does.
It's worth mentioning because
but
if Oklahoma loses, people are going to bring that up.
Yeah, but he won't be starstruck or anything like that. The moment won't be too big for that yet.
Yeah, Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, they lost their first game in this series, but they hadn't played in the Iron Bowl.
Sam Ehlinger lost his first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think early on it's like, man, this is a lot, and then you calm down and you get.
All right, prediction time, and I'll start it off. I'm taking Texas to win. I haven't got a score in my head, but I say this about this game every year, and I want the series to prove me wrong. And when I'm proven wrong, I'll go the other way. But I'll always go with the team that I don't question their physicality. I don't question how physical a football team Texas is. And I think the matchup, if Texas wins this game, the matchup that will have won it for them is their defensive line against the Oklahoma offensive line.
I agree with
if
that.
the two starting tackles are out, you're basically going to have two guards at tackle. And with the way Keandre Coburn's playing right now, that Keandre Coburn-Creed Humphrey matchup, that's one of the best individual matchups in this game. If Texas wins that game, I think that's exactly where they win it. But until proven otherwise, I'll take the more physical team. I think the more physical team is Texas. I'm taking the Longhorns.
Yeah, I think it's all about the trenches. I'm with you. Me and Craig White used to call it the State Fair street fight because it's just a fight for 60 minutes. Texas does have, in my opinion, the better lines of scrimmage total, offense and defense. So, yeah, I'm going to take Texas. I think it'll come down to whose quarterback plays better, who wins in the trenches. That's why the rushing battle is always big, and who can force turnovers. It's a flip because this game is about momentum, right? Who can flip the momentum on their side and take and seize momentum from the other side. You know what I mean? That's so many times we've seen that, right? Teams driving, they got the momentum, crowds going crazy, and then boom, turnover, instantly flips the momentum. Usually in a game, of course, that matters, but in this game, it seems like it matters even more.
Yep.
So, I'll take Texas, man. I think we have a quarterback who doesn't turn the football over. As a matter of fact, Texas in the Texas OU game, the Red River rivalry, Texas hasn't turned the football over under Tom Herman.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Man, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's like, that's weird to think. It was like, yeah, they haven't done it. They did in the Big 12 title game.
Quarters haven't turned it over.
Yeah, but not in this game. So I'll take Texas there. Lines of scrimmage, I like both their offensive and defensive lines, and I think our quarterback will play better. And as we pointed out, even if he plays a B-plus game, he'll probably still throw for 400 yards. So I'll take Texas, man. I trust Sam. I'll take Texas.
And I like each of what y'all are saying. The line of scrimmage stuff is spot on. And looking at Texas's dominated line of scrimmage, you look at line yards against West Virginia, against Oklahoma State. Texas wins that well above national average and holding your opponents defensively well below the average. And then you look at Oklahoma, they're just about average there. But Texas, if their defense was healthy, I would feel confident.
I agree with you there.
That's the only thing worrying me about it. And if you're taking it, I'd take Texas plus the points now, like maybe put 50, 60% on it now at 11 and wait to see if it goes up to 11.5. But that 11 number is a really good number to get, so get on it now. But I think Texas probably barely loses a shootout, and it's like 45-42.
All right, well,
yeah, I like that.
Texas is the more battle-tested team. They've already kind of stared the devil in the face with LSU. And like we said, I don't think we really know how good Oklahoma is. They're good.
They're good.
But
they're great on offense.
Good.
Yeah. We'll see them again anyway. I think we're all pretty sure.
Outscore them and just get a turnover, and you might be good.
Based on what I've seen from the rest of the Big 12, I feel pretty confident this is round 1 of 2.
Yeah, there you go.
True. So if you lose one, lose this one to win the next one.
I would say the Texas OU game, though, it is. I would say this Sam Ehlinger has probably played the toughest stretch, arguably, of OU foes. Even though I know that defense has not been that good. But, man, having to beat, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray and now Jalen Hurts,
Literally the best
Dude,
two offenses of all time.
Yeah,
he's faced.
exactly. Like I don't know if there's been a Texas quarterback have to face that down in
This
this
may be
rivalry.
easier.
Yeah, I mean, it may be, or it may not be. Who knows?
Who knows?
So
And you had Colt, but it was Sam Bradford for
Sam Bradford was good, you know what I
2
mean?
years.
But then he ended up getting hurt and
2
everything.
years.
But
In the third year, he
man,
really
think about it.
didn't
2
play that
number
much.
1 overall draft picks, 2 Heisman Trophy winning
got Paul-
quarterbacks, and you might have another one.
And
you know
no
what I mean?
Paul Thompsons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Sam Ehlinger did get the Paul. So, hell, he'd take a Nate Hibble at this point. I mean, Lord. And
I'll
that's a
take
good,
Jason
Hibble was a
White,
good
man.
player. Hey, Jason White won the Heisman,
Hell, you
man.
picked him up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Man, Hill served you one up, Rod B.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Those of you going to Dallas for the game, travel safely. My wife and my daughter and I are heading that way, so everybody.
Oh, wifey's
be
coming
safe.
up too?
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, that'll be fun.
A little family
Oh, that's
gathering
good,
for
man. That'll be
Texas
nice.
OU
Yeah.
this year. Everybody be safe and enjoy the game. It's the best week of the year, the best game of the year, the coolest thing we do all year. Matt, thanks for everything, man.
You're more than welcome.
Rod B, appreciate the time and the knowledge.
Always fun, brother. Always fun.
For Matt, for Rod, for Travis, the best damn videographer in the podcast game. For everybody at the Austin Radio Network and the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260, streaming on the Horn app and at hornfm.com, where you can hear this show each and every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, and you can get Rod B on the Rodcast each and every weekday from 1 to 3.
Shameless plug.
Don't forget to find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcasts. And thanks to Matt, you can get our classic interviews, classic shows on the Longhorn Blitz SoundCloud page.
Yep, just type in Longhorn Blitz.
For the Horn family, for the Horns 24/7 family, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for downloading and listening, and we will catch you again on the next episode.
You've been listening to Longhorn Blitz with horns247.com. Remember, for the latest Longhorn news 24/7, visit horns247.com.